So.
And action. All right. Okay, let's go. Actually, I realized I only have my agenda here in front of me. Is this it? Yes. Sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna call the Lakeshore Hospital Authority meeting to order. Do we have any staff or trustee additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, staff has no additions or deletions. We do have one comment. I just want to let you know that Ms. Lori will not be in attendance due to a family obligation.
Okay. We'll move on to the adoption of agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll move on to our public comments. I'm gonna start with Mr. Ron Williams. Do you have any general comments, Mr. Williams, or do you want to just leave it to your specific item?
I'm going to wait until you guys.
Yes.
I will wait till after these guys.
Well, let's move that. Is that Stephanie Johnson and?
No, it's number one. That's just the number one thing on the. League vision.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Ms. Johnson, do you have a general comment?
I have a pitch.
A pitch. Was that the veterans thing?
Yes.
Yes, let's do it.
We are officially supposed to be on your agenda for July, and we squeezed into just 2 or 3 minutes to, in the meantime, to hopefully let you guys hear what we're doing. I'm Stephanie Johnson. I'm with Volunteers of America, Florida, and I came from St. Pete today.
Tanzania Williams. I'm
Okay.
from Lake City Candace for Veterans.
Okay.
So we've been serving a veteran population as well as civilians a little over 15 years, from homeless to low-income individuals. We serve approximately 51 individuals in these apartments that we have on Winborn Lane. What we're looking to do is apply, which is we're turning this application in tomorrow for the Rural Health Transformation Program. Florida got $210 million for this Rural Health Act, and we're hoping to get a little sliver piece of the pie to help rural America with nutrition. So the whole idea that we're looking to do is partner today. The idea today is for you just to hear what we're looking to do, partner with a health body, a medical industry. So the health department or you all, whoever's the provider in your area, to work with us on referrals. So we're going to have a nutrition program. We're going to be touching the lives of approximately 400 people a year. So that's going to be Columbia County and the surrounding counties that all touch you. So those 400 people that we're looking to touch are going to have classes that we're going to teach on nutrition and health and how to basically take their SNAP benefits and turn them into better choices when they're coming home to prepare their food. Outcomes that come with that are going to be hopefully an improved BMI, better blood sugar, and better, the last one is blood pressure. So better blood pressure, blood sugar, and BMI. Those are the outcomes.
Okay. Excellent.
I have an MOU. I felt like that's premature. I could talk to you about the MOU in July, but if I could leave the letter of intent today for you all to look at and discuss and possibly consider, we have to turn this in tomorrow. So right now we have Catholic Charities. We have an MOU with your local Catholic Charities. We have an MOU with United Way that we're sending with our application.
And
Okay.
those are for community connections. We just need the clinical connections.
So if we have an individual who's got some issues that are heavier than what we might be able to do, we're gonna have like a nutritionist on board, and they say, oh, you know, let me get you a referral, let us refer you back to your provider, or let us refer you back to more medical attention. That's what we're gonna be doing to our partners. And we would hope when you see somebody in the community that needs nutrition counseling, education, you refer to us.
That's what I was asking. Is this essentially if we have members that are part of our program,
Yeah.
basically if they have nutritional needs, we refer them to you?
Yes.
We're
Fair
gonna be the curriculum.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, feel free. Yeah, you made it in 3 minutes, but I was like, you can take a few more minutes if you need it. But yeah, please leave that information with us. And yeah,
I think she
love to
has
have you on the
already.
agenda for next time.
Yep.
But I don't think that'd be an issue. I mean,
The scope of everything that we plan to do next month.
okay, excellent.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you. All right. And then, Ms. Lumley, do you have any general comments?
No,
Excellent.
we'll discuss after you guys do the first item on new business.
No problem. Oh. Okay. And we captured that. Okay, so we're done with our general comments, I'm assuming. And then we'll exhaust that and we'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. And I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Passes, and we'll do our first item of new business. Discussion and possible approval, the request from Columbia County, Florida, for the LSHA to purchase 3 EMS units. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Chairman. Included in your agenda packet is a letter from the county. They are requesting that the Lakeshore Hospital Authority Board of Trustees consider the purchase of 3 EMS units. These units will be used to supply emergency medical services in outlying areas of the county. There's a number of representatives here to speak on behalf of this.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's hear from. Well, that, I'm assuming they're gonna speak about that in public comments. So that's what we'll do.
Commenting.
Let's hear and now I'm sure y'all have an order, so let's hear it in order. We'll hear the pitch right up.
For y'all that don't know me, I'm Jeff Crawford. I'm the chief for Columbia County Fire Rescue. In 2011, Columbia County disbanded their EMS system and went to a private service. Back then, at that time, it worked pretty well, okay? But over the years, there's been issues with it. We're on our 4th private ambulance provider since 2011. We're having issues countywide with it, with our response times, with keeping a number of ambulances and all on the road. So what we've talked with commissioners have put forward that they know we've got to do something to try to rectify the issue and bring us up to a decent place. We want to be able to provide ambulances countywide at a reasonable amount of time. In other counties, like and similar, that we've done evaluations and all with, a county our side, which the closest one is I think it was Putnam County, land mass, number of square miles and population and calls and all. The sweet spot or the area to be is about 1,500 calls per ambulance per year. And that's about the norm in all of the ones that we've done. Right now, with what Columbia County has, they ran 15,001 calls a year. We're at about 2,700 calls per ambulance per year. So the call times, the amount of time that an ambulance is called and there's none available is grown in Columbia County. So we're trying to help eliminate that and push forward a way to do it. So what we're here tonight to ask about is Columbia County is entertaining the idea of putting on 2 ambulances, the county putting on 2, let's say. The most underserved areas of our county is the very north end and the very south ends of our county. The populations in those areas are growing some, and the populations in a lot of those areas are I wouldn't say indigent, but I would say lower to middle to lower income people. So we're trying to help provide us a service. So what we're here tonight to ask is we would like to ask the Lakeshore Hospital Authority to help us with the upfront monies, the cost of getting the ambulances and all. That's the biggest hurdle for Columbia County is the money to get started and to put ambulances and all the equipment and all it takes to get back on the road. So tonight, to run 2 ambulances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you need to have 3 ambulances total. Because there will be breakdowns, there will be times that ambulances have to be pulled out of service to do services on or whatever it may be, and you don't want to just shut it down in an area for a day or two. And not have something to backfill with. So what we were asking for was for 3 ambulances total. The total for the ambulances themselves are up for the 3 is $1,221,672. Now, the equipment to equip all of the ambulances is another $407,663. So what I had put together in the letter that I had sent to you, I was asking for 1.629,335. That would provide 3 full ambulances with all the equipment and everything needed on those ambulances to run calls. And also in getting 3 ambulances that are fully equipped. You have times right now when we have calls that are holding, and we've had times that people have waited so long that they actually found other ways to get to the hospital. So what we're doing is if we put on 2 ambulances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if the service itself gets busy enough that they have calls holding, we have that 3rd ambulance sitting there that is fully equipped. We do have paramedics and firefighter and EMTs that work on the fire service too. So we could actually pull, in time of need, pull a couple of those over, let them help run EMS calls or 911 calls for ambulance until we get back down to a level where we have trucks available. So it works in a twofold type system by making it fire rescue and putting it all back together. We can help on both sides, help to the staff and ambulances and all. Is there any questions and all that you have of me, and I'll try to give you the best answers I can.
Jeff, I just want to ask out of curiosity, are these ALS?
ALS,
Gone by?
absolutely, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Those vans they run, are those ALS?
They are, the little minivans that they run are, but they are not good for a 911 system because you have very limited room in the back of those ambulances. And on a lot of 911 calls, when those are built for hospital to hospital transfers, basically, interfacility transfers. On a 911 system, you need a bigger box, bigger ambulance, so you have more room. Because a lot of times if you have codes where you're having to work on people, you have wrecks, you have trauma and all that, you need more than one person in the back of that ambulance. And you need room for a couple people to actually do the work.
So these are chassis and box.
Yes, sir, chassis and boxes, and with the total price I give you is with all the equipment placed on that ambulance also. The monitors, the stretchers, the stair chairs and suction units and all that goes along with it to equip it.
And do you have an expected delivery of these once ordered?
Well, if we can get a guaranteed funding source this week. I've approached several different companies, and there is one company that I've actually got the bids from that was what we would like to go with. They have 3 online that were set to be demo trucks. And if we can guarantee that we want them, we could get our names and we can get them pulled off with a line and them not be demo and then be guaranteed for us. They say that we should be able to receive at least our first 1 or 2 in December and the other in January. So by January, we should be able to have all 3. If we can guarantee them soon enough. If we have to wait 2 or 3 weeks down the line and another service speaks up for them and makes a guarantee for them, then we will lose those.
How long would it typically take?
Typically takes about a year to a year and a half if you have to order one straight off the line.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can we take public comments before we get into the Q&A?
Well, that's what I was wondering, was gonna let that kind of happen.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, I'd be happy to bring you back up and
Okay.
do that, but I want to open it up for public comments so we can address everything as it comes up.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good. There you go. Right off top.
Ron Williams. Over the last 40 years, I've had at least about 44 years, pleasure of working with LSHA Hospital and LSHA Hospital Authority Board. This board has did tremendous things for Columbia County and for citizens. We're proud of what you've done with the hospital and the hospital operating, and we're glad praise for what you guys do now. for those that don't know, back in the mid-80s, when we talked about LSHA Hospital Authority and the Board of County Commissioners, the board had 10 mills. And it was when the legislature, the hospital authority board, they didn't give direct guidelines on the millage rate. All we knew that Lakeshore Hospital had 3 mills, and we didn't know whether that 3 mill was included in our 10 mill cap, in which if it was, we on like the county only had 7 mills. So we went to court, and the court ruled that the Lake City Authority, the Lakeshore Hospital Authority was a separate entity, and they had their 3 mills on their own, which freed up the 3 mills to give the county 10 mills. So that is the connection between the Board of County Commissioners and the Lakeshore Hospital Authority. When you heard the chief say that about 2011, we went out of the rescue business, one might say, well, why do you want to go back in it now? Well, back then, when we went out of the business, Lakeshore, the rescue was at the city of Lake City first. And they ran it for years and then say, hey, we can't run it. We can't afford to run it. Mr. Knight was the administrator at Lakeshore Hospital, and he said, hey, we'll run it. Well, they ran it for years, and I said, we can't afford to run it. And gave us a date that they was gonna turn it back over to the county, and the county began to run rescue. That's how the county got into rescue. At that time, we were subsidizing part of it, and then billing was subsidizing the other part. By the time that we relinquished the ownership of rescue and that private enterprise running, we were spending about 85% of the total cost. And that just wasn't working. Those of you that have been around in Columbia County a long time, you know that the Board of County Commissioners registered a assessment for rescue. Just like fire and just like solid waste. Well, our firm in Tallahassee called Dale one day and say, I need to meet with you and Mr. Williams. Say, there is a case law going before the Supreme Court, and we believe that they are going to rule your assessment unconstitutional. 3 years later, at that time, we took their recommendation and done away with assessment for rescue. 3 years later, the courts ruled it was unconstitutional, so we had the whole blunt coming out of either. And here was the catcher. We couldn't fund it out of Evergreen taxes because the city, double taxation would come with the city. The city residents were paying Evergreen taxes, and they also were paying city taxes. So if we took money from our Evergreen and put in rescue, and they had to pay for their portion of rescue out their taxes, that would cover that double taxation, so it would not work. So at that time, that's when we decided to farm it out. Central Ambulance was the first company that we hired. Through those years, we went with no subsidy whatsoever. That meant that who was the provider bore 100% of the cost. Well, years later, that began to change. One subsidy. So that leads us to where we are today. Now, she can tell you that I was against the county going back into rescue for years. But once you look at what's happening now in the changeover, I think it's the best thing for this county to go back into a rescue themselves. The mechanism in billing insurance companies now have changed tremendously. When we was doing it ourselves, and it just did not work. We know that one day, if we don't do something, somebody's gonna lose a life. Whether it's the north end or the south end, or even within the geographic area of what we call the municipality area. But I'm asking this board to really consider chief request. It means a lot for Columbia County. And it means a lot for this board because this board has always looked after Columbia County. And we have, once again, I appreciate all you have done and all that you're going to do. So please, just take this very serious for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Lindley?
How come she saw it so hard, but you don't spot anybody else?
Well, I'm starting it for them too,
No, it
Stu.
wasn't one.
There was one.
You see Stu running through your time?
Clock to 3 minutes then.
Miss Lindley?
Yes. You as a board member know what your limitations are. You should understand what the enabling legislation is. I do not think this board should approve the ambulances. You know, it may be needed, may sound good. But you got rules to follow, laws to follow, and if you give them money, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It's unfortunate, but this board does not follow the enabling legislation. You'll probably give them the money, just like you gave money for the line fund. And you are not really in a position to give money for a line fund. You're paying for a clinic, and then you're gonna have to subsidize their losses. And what you guys really need to do is just resign tonight, turn it all over to the county, and let Dave deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Lindley.
I didn't put anything. Is this on the agenda item? Is public comments?
This is public comment.
This is an agenda item.
This is an
Yeah,
agenda.
on the agenda item.
You're on the agenda?
Yeah,
But I don't know, it's what they tell. Don't be my thing.
would you like to make a public comments too?
No, I'm waiting for the ambulance thing. Is this the ambulance?
Yeah, this is the ambulance thing.
Thank you very much.
I've started my clock.
You start for anybody else, and you don't get 15 minutes apiece. But I know the chairman will be gracious and treat everybody equally.
You got it.
Thank you. So I have a couple questions. It says there's an indigent population in the extreme areas of the county. But nobody has explained what the extreme areas of the county are. Chief writes an undated letter. So the Dale Williams undated letter thing. At least the county put a date on the letter, but the chief has no date on that letter that I can see. He's looking at it now. So I'd like to know, where are these areas of extreme indigent poverty? Because if you look at the enabling legislation, as Ms. Lumley pointed out, your purpose is to provide indigent care. And you have nothing in front of you now that shows what that is. So you have the letters say a large population of indigent. My question is, these folks said it, county manager said it, he's shaking his head. I don't see anything in the agenda. I don't see anything anywhere that shows what the large population of indigent is. You can say you have a large population of people playing Santa Claus on the north and south end of the county. But that doesn't authorize you to give away $1.5 million plus because of something in one letter and an undated other letter. And I don't know, what is the percentage? He must have figured it out. He's the county manager, knows finance, I know that, smart man. What's the percentage? The letter said there's a large percentage. What is it? And where is it? You have nothing to go on. Unless Mr. Kennan has something up his sleeve, which I doubt. The Columbia County Fire Department is basically said the same thing that the county said. Fire chief comes up here and says, just give us an ambulance. Wait, give us 2. Wait, we need a spare. Give us $3.5 million. That's not for indigent care. If you read the enabling legislation, it's not even for an arbitrary facility. Hospitals and arbitrary facilities. That's what it says in the enabling legislation, as Mr. Kennan would clearly tell you if he has it with him. I have it with me. So it's not for any kind of facility. I would remind this board that years ago, a long time ago, when Marlon Fiegel was the attorney to this board, the lifestyle for old folks enrichment center over on Bay, whatever they call that thing. They want to replace the doors. Sort of similar, because there's indigent people that use the doors. Of course, the ambulances aren't only for indigent people. The doors weren't only for indigent people, and Marlon Fiegel said that was not the substance of the enabling legislation, and the board didn't approve the doors. Not a big item, but a simple item, and clearly is a lesson that could be learned. The final thing is, AmeriPro is providing ambulance service for Columbia County now. It's kind of a, if you watched the meeting or read my story today, they're not doing such a good job as these folks over here would tell you. If you look at the AmeriPro contract, this is the last thing.
Okay.
If you look at the AmeriPro contract, which you should have in front of you because you're buying ambulances, they don't know how they're gonna pay the people. They're still investigating that, and they don't know who's gonna use the ambulances, whether it's gonna be AmeriPro or our guys. But the contract is supposed to have a map. So the first attachment in the AmeriPro contract with Columbia County. I suggest you can't approve this because if you look at the contract, there's no map. Part of the problem may be that the county and the contractor don't know where those areas are because the map is missing. So I'm against this. I feel that you're violating the law if you do this. And I thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Steve. Any other public comments? Mr. Kraus? Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Kraus. I'm a resident of Columbia County, a resident of the city of Lake City, and I'm also county manager. I wasn't gonna comment, but I just want to make a couple of quick insights. The issue really is far remote ends of the county, both north and south. There is no adequate way to provide them enough coverage, yet help them in time. So that is what we're trying to figure out, is how to make that happen, so that when they call for help, somebody responds that can provide them that life saving, that life preventing them from major illnesses or even death. And we have had cases where people waited extreme amounts of time in these far regions. And if you're familiar with those far regions, there are a lot of low income people in those areas. Now, not everybody's low income, that is true. Finally, the whole point of the ambulance is to transport people to the hospitals. So it is related to the facilities because that's where they're going. They're not doing interfacility transports. They're not taking people to doctors' offices. They're picking up somebody who is in a life-threatening situation and taking them to the closest appropriate hospital to save their lives or to prevent further health illness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kraus. Any other public comments? Checking. Online, okay. We will exhaust the public comment section of this line item and move on to discussion of the board. Sure. Mr. Beal.
So I'm not against this by any means, but I have a laundry list of questions. So I don't know, Chief, if you would be better suited to answer some of these.
I'll do my best.
So my understanding is we're looking for 3 ambulances, one for the north, one for the south, and a spare.
Yes, and the spare could be used at times when there's an extreme emergencies and there's calls holding. That spare could be manned, so we could actually have 3 in service at times. Yes, sir.
So if Columbia County had these 3 ambulances in the last 6 months, year, whatever, do you have a number of how many calls they would have responded to?
I can tell you, I'm really real quick. For the 100 and up to June 1st. From January 1st to June 1st. Our 2 outlying stations were Station 42, Swanee Valley, which is our northernmost end. And Station 46, which is Fort White, our southernmost end. There was a total of 487 ALS, advanced life support calls. that these ambulances could have run to in that time period. Now, understand when I say ALS, that's Advanced Life Support. There are numerous other calls that these two stations, these two areas run to that come in as 911 calls, but when you get on scene, they're not as life threatening as the person that was calling it in thinks it is. So they're always not all classified as ALS, but that is a number of ALS that was had within this first 6 months.
But
Or actually, two, first, I'm sorry.
What's that number again, chief? I'm sorry.
It's 487, yes, sir, within a 5 month period that was, like I said, that were ALS calls.
but so either Columbia or America, somebody responded to those calls, but from those two stations, these would they have been dispatched, or would Ameripro be dispatched and these would only be used if Ameripro's I'm not an EMT, or is it level 0 level, whatever, however they.
Yeah, it's,
Whatever
no,
the
these,
official
putting these in the northern and the southern ends of the county. The way, there's a model, the way Ameripro, or any of the ambulance companies do. The majority of your calls within Columbia County are more towards the populated areas, which is the Lake City, or the closer you get in from the outside reaches of the county, the more call volume that you have. So during the day, a lot of times as calls are going on, even if there's not a call out in the southern ends, they pull their ambulances up even closer. So when there is a call out there, it makes an extended response times, so these ambulances would be out there. Ameripro doesn't have anything north of, in the northern end of the county at all. So that one would be there. And like I said, there's nothing there. Ameripro has one in the southern end of the county, but it doesn't stay there a lot because it does get pulled up when these up here get busy. So these would primarily stay north and south and would respond to any call that comes in down there, or over there, either way in their areas.
So they would be stationed at 42 Swanee Valley Road in Fort White.
Well, it would be Fort White, it would be County Road 8, or right there at Fort White, Station 46, and probably on Rashawn Road, which is north of town, up there at our Station 50, which is a fire station up there.
Is that north of Swanee Valley, or that would be south?
That's over near Fallen Creek, that area, or that's actually between Lassiter and Fallen Creek up there.
So, my next question's all kind of tying together. I feel like the county in the emergency medical services business, I guess I will call it, has kind of gotten a little messy. So these COPCN, Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, okay. So do you have any idea how many of those exist besides Ameripro obviously having one in Columbia County?
Ameripro, Columbia EMS, Legacy,
Excelsior.
I mean, there's probably 8 or 10.
Couple of helicopters.
And a couple of helicopters, probably 8 or 10 total.
So my understanding, part of the problem of Ameripro meeting their contract is they can't find staff.
Correct.
But if we keep passing out COPCNs like candy on Halloween, how is anybody ever going to find staff?
They're not. That is an issue. And now the only thing that a county-based EMS system has above a private one is our retirement system. We have county retirement and our insurances. The majority of these private systems don't do. They'll offer a 401k or something, but they don't have the same retirement. I'll give you, for instance, like with this, like I said, we're on our 4th private ambulance company running it in Columbia County. So there's no job security as far as doing it, because they have 5-year contracts or whatever it is, 3 to 5 year contract. And they don't know that they're going to get it at the end of that contract, so that if they don't, then they'll scale back. So you have no job security. With a county-based system, you have better job security, you have better retirement insurance.
And I don't disagree, but, and this is, again, just me, it's like a game of tug of war, okay? So county's better, we have better benefits, you know, all of that. And I think AmeriPro was hiring for like 55 to 95, I'm assuming EMT to paramedic.
Right.
You know, salary difference. Okay, so the county, gets 3 ambulances, starts the EMS service. So people are gonna go work for the county, so now AmeriPro can't fulfill their contract. Because they can't hire anybody because the county is competing with them. The county is running some calls, then they're gonna have to do more because AmeriPro can't staff but to me, and I don't know if it's legal or not, but if it was me, I think the county should go pull all the other COPCNs and say, here's all the staff that you need, and then you have job security because they're, and then the county might not need 3 ambulances because AmeriPro could be fully staffed, and if they're doing interfacility transports, they might bring 15 ambulances to Columbia County. I mean, am I wrong? Tell me where I'm wrong on
No,
that.
you're not wrong. Back in the beginning, when Columbia County EMS first got rid of or Columbia County first got rid of their EMS system and Lifeguard coming in, it was just Lifeguard and Century were the only 2 within Columbia County. And they could afford to, let me kind of back up a little bit. That you're not gonna make money on 911. There's just not, because you have, but between your call volume, you have a number of calls that are non-paid, that you won't get paid at all. Then you have another good sized number of calls that are Medicaid. Medicaid pays very little and doesn't even cover the full cost of the run. Then you get Medicare, which is a good payer, and private insurance, which is a little better. So there is not at best, you're gonna break even at 911. That's not a money maker. That's why the private companies don't want to put out very many ambulances running the 911 system. They want to do it with the least amount possible. And if they can do that, whereas a county, we want a 8 minute, 9 minute response time as an average. Where they're over 14, 15 minute countywide response time. We don't want that. We want the response time down. As a county entity, we don't need to make a profit. If we can just break even, that's awesome. If they can run 5 ambulances and make a profit, we should be able to run 6 or 7 and break even.
Well, I think, I guess.
Did I answer a little bit, or did I scare?
Yeah, but my thing is if AmeriPro was the only business in town, only provider in town, the reason I said they might bring 15 in is because they're gonna do interfacility and EMS.
That's good logic, but how do you back off now and tell all these people they can't be here anymore?
Hey, our response times to EMS is terrible, so y'all got to go.
We
need more employees.
You know, they started.
Mr. Krause may have an answer that he might tell me.
Well, they started doing it, issuing all the COPCNs, because our county attorney at the time said, I don't think we can really exclude a bunch of people if they want COPCN. What is our reasoning? How can we justify not giving it to them? So
I think now we have a good justification though.
it's an illegal one though.
So kind of where we're at, of course, Dale was there when all this happened. We always refer to you.
I kept running fine when I was.
I was about to say, Dale, you left quite a mess over there.
So at that point in time, Century had a contract with Shan, and Lifeguard had a contract with HCA. VA had to use those services. Since that time, obviously, Shan's is gone now. You don't have those exclusive contracts to support your providers. In addition, we were sued by an ambulance company for denying a COPCN because we did not have an adequate basis for the denial. If we had adequate basis for denial, that could change, and it's something we're looking into. But as long as you don't have rules that say why you accept and why you don't accept, it's viewed as arbitrary in court.
So can we make rules that say this is why we don't accept? I mean,
It's something we directed the attorney to look at.
It is.
because I mean, to me, again, is which came first, chicken or the egg? I mean, to fix the problem, staffing seems like it's a major issue. Well, how do you fix that?
Well,
Only
there's, it is, other entities around us have started doing a lot of, where they're hiring people and sending them to school. Not many of the private ones are doing that, but just about all of our surrounding, county-based services are. And even out here at Gateway Community College now, you know, when they run classes each year, they run one that is almost strictly for Alachua County and Marion County personnel that they've hired and sending out there to class. And that's something that we, if we get it back in the business, that's something that we are gonna have to do also. We're gonna have to put more education into it, more money and time and effort. If you get local people tend to stay more. When we hire from other counties around or a couple counties over, they come, get a year or so experience and they leave. They hop. They'll go back closer to their hometown. If we can get ones here, we can educate them, put them to work. We're gonna have more stay and be more loyal to our county.
just a couple more questions if you don't
Please,
mind.
I'm
So,
learning about it.
how many people, paramedics and EMTs would it take to staff 30 ambulances? I guess 24 hours a day would be.
Two of them 24 hours a day. You take 2 people per ambulance, 24 hours a day. You run 3 shifts. So to staff one ambulance, it takes 6 personnel. To run one ambulance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, takes 6 personnel. So however many ambulances you want above that, that's the way you figure it out.
So you said 6 for 2, and then the other one would mainly be used by firefighters that are cross trained.
Would either be a backup ambulance as one of those are being repaired or serviced. Or like I said, when you do hit times and there is no other ambulance to respond, then we will pull staff from fire department, because we do have paramedics and we have EMTs within that. We can pull staff in there to answer some calls until enough ambulances are freed back up that we can pull them back to the fire trucks.
Then I think on the list of, what is the cost difference between the box and the van ambulances? Is it a major cost difference and availability?
Well, the availability is pretty close to the same. You can maybe get a little van a little bit quicker.
You can't rent a 15 passenger van without going over all of God's creation. I learned that today.
Yeah,
Maybe it's hard to get those too.
Most of anything is if you have to order it, it's gonna be at least a year out. So there's not. Like I said, the only reason we had this opportunity is because this company had 3 of them online that they were gonna do as demos to send out, and we're begging for them, or we're begging for them. The difference in price is $60,000-$70,000, but the equipment you can put on it and the service you can do with it is well worth that difference.
That's all I have right now, Mr. Chair. Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's right. Is there any other
I
questions?
don't know. I'm gonna look around.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, can I have a follow-up on Chief?
Sure, if he'd like to bring you up and you're adding something critical to this, so yes, I'm gonna say you're part of the presentation.
We,
Q&A.
What happens now? North end of the county, get a call for service. The ambulance that have to cover that district is in service, they're doing something. So a lot of time, that loved one the person picked their loved one up and put them in a car and transported it off. They don't know anything about no medical procedures or anything, but the timeline is so great from the time that an ambulance can get there. That they bring themselves on the south end of the county. You might not know this, but it's closer to go to Gainesville than to come back to Lake City on certain areas on the south end of the county. Well, it takes 2 hours, that service, that ambulance is out 2 hours, about 2 hours, our service. You don't have any coverage down there, period, then. Because they're going to Gainesville, because they have that less time, it takes less time to go to Gainesville to come all the way into Lake City. So there's no coverage in that area whatsoever. This unit that they're talking about would help that situation out. Those areas deserve the same level of service that we as a county can provide as we do the metropolitan area.
I
Give
just
you a
think,
good example. Fire. The county paid 80% of the fire budget before we had a fire department. But we experienced the highest rate on damage because we were so far out. When the county decided to go into the fire business and put these stations all around Columbia County, it cuts the loss of property down tremendously. And this is all we're trying to do here. This is what the chief is trying to do, and the county is trying to do. Put those vehicles in the area where you can give those residents near to the same quality of service that we got within the metropolitan area.
You got to look at too, these ambulances, even though you place them north and south, they're not only helping north and south. Because when you've got those ambulances there, you're freeing up some of the other to help here in other parts of the county. So yeah, I'm gonna place them north, I would like to place them north and south, but that's not the only part of the county they help. They'll help the county all over.
I guess my only concern is, even if we bought 5 of them, then at that point, I think whoever the private provider is then looking for 30 staff members, just because, I mean, it's one of those, there's only so many paramedics and EMTs, so they're gonna work wherever whoever pays the best or has the best benefits.
Yeah, I agree, but like I was kind of going into a while ago, and I think I sidetracked myself. When you start talking about that, is a private company is there to make a profit. So if they've got to make you wait an extra 10, 20 minutes to get an ambulance to you, so that they don't have to staff more ambulances, that's what they're gonna do, because they're in it to make a profit. We're in it for the people. That's your difference.
And Mr. Kennedy, if you don't mind, I got one more thing I'll
Sure.
add.
I was about to say,
I promise.
I was gonna say, Brandon, take a breath, Brandon.
So, I did some research on it because
I can tell.
I'm curious about it. But like Leon County, from my understanding, they have an MSTU that generates $18-ish million. I think that was 2022's number, $18 million. But then they generate another $20 million from interfacility transports from doing that private. So that's what kind of made me start thinking about, we've got 8 or 10 COPCNs out there. They're all competing for all of that. Like you said, you can't make money off of EMS service. But if you tell your private provider, hey, you've got not only the EMS service, but the interfacility transports, then now that's when I said that maybe 15, because they're going to do and their 6 or however many or by contract they're supposed to have is dedicated.
Even with the number that we have in here now, the hospital at times want more. They want more ambulances to do facility transfers and all, because there's times that they do still wait over there to even get an facility truck to come transfer them to Gainesville or wherever it may be that they're sending them. And there's sometimes it can be an hour and a half, 2, 3 hour wait for them just to do that. So it's even at that, it's half dozen 150. It's hard to overcome either way, any way you do it. So I don't know that there is a real good answer For the issues, the problem. I don't know that if you did away with, two or three of them, if they would go here local or if they would go somewhere else. It's statewide, nationwide, but statewide. You know, I went to a fire chiefs conference several years ago, about 4 years ago, actually. And there were more EMS and fire jobs created in the state that year than there were people that graduated from college and got new licenses. So I don't know the answers. I mean, like I said, the schooling, the putting in the education time and hiring them young, excuse me, and putting them through school, local people seem to have helped a lot in other areas. That's all we can do is take what works from other areas and try and try to come up with some of our own too, but just work through the weeds of it.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, Chief Crawford, Assistant Chief Hill, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you very much for your service. Overworked and underpaid, I'm sure. I appreciate, Mr. Bill, because you did research like I did too, but I think the first question that I have is to follow up on Mr. Bill's, you called it the
COPCN.
COPCN,
Yes.
and I know you had referred to that it's a legal question, but from your professional knowledge and experience, and Mr. Kraus, you can chime in too, why don't we require the hospital and the other facilities to pick and choose their own providers that they want and make the phone calls and say, we need a provider here, and not bother the EMTs that we have here for the county and for this paid contract with AmeriPro?
They already do to a point.
They do.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
They,
well then why can't we preclude Mr. Kraus in our contract with AmeriPro that they are not to do any of it?
Can't make money.
And my reason for that is, in reading the contract, it states that they are to have 6 ALS vehicles on a 12-hour shift and then 5 at night. And from my computations, which the chief, I appreciate you bringing the stats, because I was gonna ask that question. 487 in the north and south end in a 150-day period from January to June computes out to 3.25 a day during a 24-hour period.
yes.
And if they have 6 units out there, do the math. I mean, I guess I'm criticizing Mr. Kraus, I apologize.
That's
I
okay.
guess I'm criticizing the contract that we have, and I think the contract we have is at 1.6 million a year.
Yes.
Okay, and from the article that I read in the Journal of Emergency Services back on March the 6th, where they announced that they were taking over the services from Columbia County, it was estimated at 15,000 calls a year.
That was actual numbers.
Last year was 15,001 calls in 2025.
And when you do the math on that, 365 days divided by 15,000 is 41.09 daily. Divide that by a 24-hour period, and that's 1.71 calls an hour. But if you want to make it during a 12-hour period, where it's the busiest time, that'd be 3.5 hourly, and we've got 6 vehicles out there during this 12-hour period, and then 5 during the 24. I guess my question to you is who, and I know they're not up to staff because it said that they were hoping to get up to staff by, I think, 90 days, which is next week. But out of curiosity, who, Chief, if you know, or Mr. Kraus, is managing their contract?
Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill.
Okay, well then,
He's the one that's watching their contract.
and he's only been watching it for the last 90 days.
No,
he's been watching it.
he was watching the other company before them, so he just.
But I mean, but AmeriPro, he's only been watching since they took over in March, which is 90 days.
Yes,
Right.
Okay, and then maybe I need to ask him, how do they stand up to those stats, Mr. Hill?
Contract, you read the contract, there was a 60-day ramp-up period they had to get their operations in order.
Yes, sir.
That happened April 27th.
Yes, sir.
Now they're in a final 60-day grace, moving their operations, their stations, their personnel before they are held to the contract, as far as
Okay.
the times. And
Okay.
that grace ends the 27th.
27th of June, okay?
But at the same time, Mr. Hill has been managing and watching what they're doing and reporting back every month.
Good.
What are their,
Every Monday.
every Monday?
And how did you rate them right now?
Not good.
Okay.
They're slightly under 70%.
Do they have 6 ALS vehicles during a 12-hour period?
As of Wednesday, they started bringing crews from Jacksonville to hit the minimum staffing.
And then they have 5 at night.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's that contract, so that is, so this was, I said, Joel explains it better. That contract, that is the minimum they're required to have, and the times and the fines are supposed to make them find the happy medium. But we have not had that luxury the last 2 years now, the last vendor, now this.
With the minimums amount of ambulances and all that's set in that contract, you cannot meet the times.
I got you.
When the only time that the times were met was back when Century first was doing. And at that point in time, at the call volume, now the call volume is 15,000. Back then, the call volume was about 13,000. At that time, Century ran 5 trucks 24 hours a day, and they used their 2 backup trucks that run interfacility anytime that they got the call volume needed more. So at times they were running 7 trucks, even back then, so 13,000 calls a year. And they're trying to do it now with 5.5, basically, because you got 5 24 hours and then once 12 hours. So you can't really do it. So for them to do it and meet the times, they're going to have probably at a minimum of 7 24-hour, and then that 8th one at a 12-hour.
So having said that, at 15,000 calls per year, with current staffing that they're supposed to have, it brings them to about 27,000 some odd calls per unit.
2,700.
2,700
per unit.
If you had 2 units, that's still gonna keep them at 2,000 calls per unit, which is still about 500 calls per unit more than the closest similar county that we have. So we're still running them very hard, even with adding 2 more ambulances.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and Mr. Williams, I agree, this authority board has worked with the county, and I want to work with the county and whatever we can do, but I want to make sure that the county taxpayer is getting their dollars worth too on this contract. And if you don't want to answer this question because you're both whole county employees, but from your experience in the number of years that you have, has there been a provider that we have had here in Columbia County that could meet the standards of what we could do it ourselves?
Century for a time met all of the standards of the contract.
Yes, sir.
And they did, for a while, they did pretty good. They honestly did. I know this kind of sounds odd or cliche, but that was when Herb Sellers owned. It was a privately owned, local owned, out of Jacksonville man that owned. When it got sold to a big corporate, and it became more about dollars than it did personnel. And then the level of service continually went down from that.
So the Century first did lifeguard?
No, it was Lifeguard actually first in Century.
So Lifeguard ran into a similar situation. They were originally a company that we contracted with. And then they were sold to a much larger corporation and philosophy
And
changed.
it just seems to be the pattern. When they sell to the big corporations, dollars seem to matter more than people, and the service seems to drop. That's just history with us in our county.
So I'll take that answer that we could do it better, meaning you guys.
Yeah, I personally, yes, I believe so.
Thank you.
Or I would not be here asking for this. I would be begging y'all to help give Mary Pro more money or something.
I got you.
You know,
And in terms of funding, we have considered the MSTU as
Yes,
an
sir.
option. We're looking at sales tax.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the way sales tax works now due to recent changes, It has to be in an election year of a general election, which means either this November or next November. But you have to start the process 180 days prior to the election, which meant for this year, we've missed the window. So we could not enact the sales tax until 2028.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that about the sales tax, and I'm not sure, this is not a political statement, but do you realize how many counties out of 67 have an 8%, an additional 2% surtax to the 6%?
I do not.
One, Hamilton County.
One.
All the others are at 7.5 or 7,
And we're at 7.5.
and we're at 7.5. I'm not sure if we wanna be like our neighboring county.
Well, they don't have a problem, their ambulance system.
That's why, that's why Mr. Bowler left Hamilton County.
I've been in the business a long time. I don't know if I would call myself an expert by no means, but I've been in since 92. I got my EMT in 92, my paramedics in 93, and I've been in the business since then. I even taught, since then I've worked full-time for fire and EMS. I even taught at the college, as an adjunct instructor several years, for the EMT and programs. So I've seen a lot of ups and downs through the different years and all. There's always, it takes a big, issue to make a change. I hate to say that, but we're along that lines now. We've got that big issue going on. We have to make a change. And I don't want it to progress to where that issue is somebody's life. We need to make a change now. We can't wait a year down the road or 2 years down the road to get a sales tax if that's what you want to do. We just can't. We need an answer now of a way to fix this issue. Yes, sir.
So, but it sounds like it might take that long to get enough ambulances for the county to start their own anyways.
Well, you can't build it.
And I'm not saying that
No,
that would pay for it.
No, you're correct. You cannot build an adequate system in a year's period. You just can't do it. You can't get the personnel, you can't get the equipment, you just can't do it. That's why you have to start into it steps, the step. 2 ambulances is the first step. If it grows, if the needs keeps showing it's there, it shows that it's helping, then you have to add more to it at some point. But at that point in time, you're doing the collections also. So right now, the first year, it's gonna take you close to 6 months to start pulling in much money. To start getting a lot of those collections in and start being able to help fund and help grow more. So the first year of getting started is the hardest for us. After that point in time, adding to it won't be such a bite to take it one at a time.
So similar counties that used to be with private ambulance, like Sumter County. They got hit by COVID and the model didn't work anymore. So they went to a hybrid system, which was part county owned, part private. For a number of years until they felt comfortable that they wanted to expand more because of the villages, way beyond what we would expand, and now they're all county. But it's not uncommon to go with a hybrid system for a while to see what happens.
And like you said, probably would have to build it up anyway.
Right, that's the only way you're gonna build one, because you could not come in and say, October 1st, we're gonna open our own system. You just physically could not do it.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Kennedy.
one last question for Mr. Kraus. You brought up the MSTU and, Mr. Crawford and Mr. Hill have indicated that the cost of these 3 ALS units would be 1.6 million. How would that affect your board?
Well, on the 18th, we have a public hearing to determine whether they want to enact an MSTU or not. If they don't do it on the 18th of this month, then they're not doing it this year.
But if they're told that the 3 vehicles are purchased for them, would that affect an additional millage rate? Because I think you projected the millage rate to be anywhere between 1.3 and 1.4 mils.
So what would happen is if you are generous enough, and we do appreciate it, to provide the ambulances.
Yes,
That's $1.6 million we do not have to put on the taxpayers.
so it would still be 1.3, 1.4 mils.
It would go down.
It would go down less than that.
Yes.
Because from my computation of my own taxes, it'd be about $227 on my taxes if it was at the 1.4.
So it would go down because we wouldn't have to expend that money.
I got you.
So when we did the study to determine what the MSTU would generate, and what rate you would have to set it at.
Yes, sir.
It included 1.6 million for the contract with AmeriPro, and it included 1.6 million to procure ambulances, and it included staffing.
And we still don't know what the city or what Fort White's gonna do yet.
So the city on the EMS stuff passed it on first reading. They still have to pass it on second reading. Cities require 2 readings for an ordinance. The town of Fort White has a meeting on the 11th. And they were gonna have one on the 15th, but I think they missed their publication deadline, so they may have it a little bit after, so we don't know what the time.
But can I ask you a question?
Yes,
That dollar amount, are you saying that's what an MSTU would cost you per household?
yes, sir, on my taxes.
I haven't heard that dollar.
Well, I applied the 1.4 to my property value and it would come out to be about $220.
He lives on the west end of the county though. Property values are they're a little higher.
I need to get with Jeff Hampton, right? That's way overpraised, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just,
No, you're
I
right.
had not heard that particular dollar amount.
Well, maybe I'm doing the math wrong, but I based it on the value on the tax statement times 1.4.
And you might be 100% correct, I don't know.
But if there was a tax, a half-cent tax, it'd take $40,000 to make that, so I probably would be in favor, because I'd go to Gainesville and buy my good, no, I'm teasing.
Sure. Mr. Bill. Mr. Krause, I got a trick question for you. So 1.3 to 1.4 mil, but it could be less if the county doesn't have to buy ambulances.
Correct.
So if the county has to buy ambulances, how long will it be 1.3 to 1.4 mils?
So that isn't really a trick question. The issue becomes this. The first year, you're not gonna get any revenues really collected from insurance. Because, if we file for insurance, there's at least, we're estimating a 6-month lag time. So we do anticipate, unless you're continuing expanding, that rate would go down very next year.
It would go down.
But if you add more ambulances, then you're.
Pass, thank you.
So as long as we stick to just the 2 or 3, it would go down the next year. But if you add 2 more the next year, then it's another one.
But, I mean,
If that makes sense.
any of you 3 professionals disagree that until the COPCN issue is resolved, that everybody's fighting each other and nobody will be able to successfully do it wholly until the issue of staffing is resolved and the COPCNs prevent the staffing? Is that, I don't want you to get in legal trouble by saying that, but I mean, do you disagree with that assessment?
So we've talked about trying to establish
I
what
agree
other
to,
counties.
I agree to a point. Like I said, as a county service, you have a advantage that others don't. So our fight for staffing would be a little easier.
Would the base pay be about the same, but the benefits better?
Pretty close to the same.
It's part of that argument that you're possibly handcuffed by response times or putting that in the contract or having something like that. Out of curiosity, I'm listening and picking up. Does that make sense? Like right now, you're not allowed to dictate response times, like minimum response times.
No, we do in the contract.
You can do it now.
And that's where
I thought you were sued because you.
No, that's COPCNs. We're sued on the COPCN.
Certificates to allow other ambulance companies to come in and operate.
The response times that the contract sets forth
Yeah.
are actually pretty high. They're kind of 17 minutes for a very life-threatening emergency call out in the county is kind of high. But that's where you're saying, and he was asking at the 90-day point, they start having to live up to their times or they're going to start getting fined. So at 90 days, realistically, they're going to start getting fined for their service, but it's the way the contracts are wrote, and the amount of fines, it's cheaper for them to pay the fines than it is to put on another ambulance.
Huh.
Well,
And
Mr.
part
Chair,
of the reason the contract's written the way it is,
Hang on.
when we went out to bid and Columbia EMS was awarded, those were the terms in the bid specs. So until we go out to bid again, we're kind of limited in what we can change and not change.
Mr. Fuller.
So first question I have would be for Mr. Kennon. And I know you probably hadn't had time to check into this. Mr. Kraus, I got a question for you too. The legality of doing this.
Yeah.
All right, so essentially the legality is you have to look at your enabling legislation.
Okay.
And then decide whether or not it's allowed there. And then you have to decide, since you're partnering with another governmental entity, whether it's a public purpose. Public purpose is pretty easy. Providing medical transport obviously promotes the health, safety, welfare of all the citizens. Your enabling legislation lets you enter into contracts, other agreements with hospitals, healthcare providers, facilities located in Columbia County Division of Healthcare Services to indigent residents of Columbia County. You can read that, I guess, to say whatever you do only helps indigent individuals, which would be impossible. Versus does your actions assist and help those that are indigent that need medical transport?
I'm not against the idea of helping if we could, if it was legal, but I will say this. The commission has not even met on this and given a plan. I mean, we're just saying we need ambulances, okay? The commission, I guess they got a workshop coming up and they're gonna discuss this and come up with some type of plan. But tonight, I would vote no about doing it until I see a better plan in place. Davy Crockett had a say, and make sure you're right, then go ahead. We don't know if we're right there or not. And I want to make sure we're right. Move on with it.
And Mr. Bullock, the other thing is that if you found that you were in, that your legislation enables you to do this, it would be my recommendation this be done through an interlocal agreement with the county. And that way we put in safeguards that they're only used for Columbia County. They would remain with Columbia County as a governmental entity. We would have reversion rights in there that if they didn't need the ambulances or they decided to go out of the EMS business, they would revert back to property of the authority. Things like that. So anything to me would need to be contingent on us and the county being able to work out appropriate terms and conditions of an interlocal.
And again, we don't have anything like that in play. We don't have anything like that right now. Correct. No plan. So
we don't have any even bare bones for an interlocal.
Okay.
But forming it, I'd have to work on that, and it needs to be contingent on the terms and conditions of that being satisfactory to both the county and the authority.
So until we see something, I mean, we ask a lot of questions, there's a lot of things, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
So.
Okay. I agree with you, Mr. Fuller.
But I'm very supportive of the idea and
having it
as far as in the interlocal, that could, as Mr. Bullard mentioned, they could only be used for here in Columbia County and not for transport out of the county.
Correct. That to me,
And
that would
maybe
be, that would be
even
important.
LSHA painted across the side of them, or
Now, HCA,
If you want it, sure.
HCA is,
Picture of hell.
they have their own nursing.
Right, they'll get your own side.
Courtesy of Don
I would be
Kennedy.
surprised if they started an ambulance service,
Yeah.
to be the only provider from HCA.
They already are.
HCA actually applied for a CFPCN, so that they can start doing that at some point.
Yeah.
And that would be all.
No.
I was behind one of their vehicles the other day, coming back from Swanee County.
And so that, like I said, that you're talking about is probably in the works over the next couple of years anyway.
But I don't think we would say that they couldn't, if they went on a call to the south end of the county, that they couldn't take them to Gainesville. You were saying,
Well,
I would say,
I don't think we could restrict that, because what if,
Well, and you can't restrict it to Columbia County citizens.
That'd be impossible,
We got
yeah.
people.
So there's a difference between transports and emergency response.
there, what he's getting at is by statute, you have to take them to the closest available appropriate facility.
Yeah.
On the south end of the
Yeah.
county, some of the ERs and all in Gainesville are actually your closest appropriate. So now you would not want to use these ambulances to go do hospital to hospital.
Yeah, transport.
By no means,
Right.
absolutely not. They would be 911 calls.
Designated.
Only is what you would be asking.
I think they should also be able to do inter-facility transports so the county can make money and supplement it personally.
Well, that's a good point too.
But
We can make money. off
gotta
that.
start
I
somewhere.
think you're referring to the hybrid system, Mr. Kraus, and
And-
thinking about implementing.
I
And
think it should be
Mr.
all in one person.
If you can add the argument to Mr. Foreman on the legislative language that these particular units are just as good, competent as a hospital room. In fact, I'd rather be in one of those, I think. Being cared for by these guys.
Well, we appreciate you listening to us tonight and, we'll see where it
Thank you
goes.
for all.
We may-
Hang on one second, Mr. Williams has something to
Okay,
add.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
trustees, when I wear a different hat, sometimes I go to a lot of these county commission meetings. But I've heard a lot of conversation about this subject outside of this meeting. They have a special meeting Wednesday, 10:30.
10:30.
Where they're going to address a lot of this. I'm just wondering if the trustees would be willing to give a strong indication of what your thoughts are, where they can use that in their deliberations. Otherwise, there's going to be questions about where you stand. Now, obviously, what I'm hearing is there seems to be a majority of you that are more than willing to assist with the purchase of the units. However, there's a couple of issues. One is there has to be a proper legal finding to do that. And then secondly, there has to be a business model which works and is sustainable in your opinion. That's what I've heard. Now, if I've heard incorrectly, please tell me, but otherwise, I think that's the message that you can carry back to your board. Would that be wrong?
No,
Yeah.
picture of our executive director on the side.
Yeah.
We can definitely do this.
Please.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Hopefully we can have better answers for you after Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hopefully-
Good gracious.
Just forget these.
I learned a lot.
Proceed with drafting an interlocal agreement
Mr. Hill.
with the new attorneys.
I think, I don't think that would be premature. But you know, obviously with our indication that we're support, I don't think that would be premature. Yeah.
Kind of go over that.
But again, the legal finding is this, is the stickler for myself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Good seeing you.
You guys gonna get a legal memo from your attorney saying that this is legal? Stop drawing up stuff.
Mr. Loker, that's what we're having him investigate. That's what we're having him investigate, is the legality of the issue.
Oh, he's passed with that?
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right, a public hearing to declare parcels number 12061 and 12069 of the land as surplus property. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your agenda packet, there are two parcels identified on two separate sheets of paper. To simplify, I have handed out a third page. It's a single page, but it has not just two parcels, but three. Those are the three parcels that we would like to ask that you hold a public hearing for now. Those parcels are all scheduled to be transferred and some actually have been transferred. What we are doing, because of all of the inventory issues and all of the inventory disposition, we are going through the LSHA Hospital Authority records very meticulous. We're comparing those to our insurance records. Todd, Sonia, and I are spending a lot of time trying to make sure that all of this is proper. Some of these parcels, I actually believe we've already declared surplus, but rather than invest the time and effort to go back, it wouldn't hurt if they got approved the second time. If you're looking at that one page at the top, that 12061 parcel, that's the half lot north of the health department. You've already approved the transfer of that to Columbia County. Just want to make sure that it's dotted, the i's are dotted, the t's are crossed. That was one of the parcels that was discussed between the county and Florida Gateway College back when the college accepted the two-story women's center and the county accepted the administration building and the parking lots and et cetera. If we go down on that page, you'll see the yellow, it says 12065. This is never, to my knowledge, the map in the office, which was prepared prior to my time, showed that this had been transferred to the city as part of a trade, which ended up creating Wilson Park. But after examining the records, Todd and I determined that it had never been officially declared surplus by the authority.
I'll be there.
And so it needs to be, it's currently a paved parking lot. And then 12069 is that strip parking area that is immediately to the south of the hospital admin building. And it's primarily used for parking for the Lake City / JC's park. So I view this for the most part as being housekeeping measures. We're trying to make sure that all of our records and all are cleaned up and, you know, things are put in proper order. The 12069 parcel has been approved by this board for transfer to the county. However, I believe the county has now said, because they have not yet prepared that deed, they would like to see that go to the city because it's part of that park.
I've got to confirm that with Mr. Foreman, it was not in today.
Okay, but that was the.
Right, they didn't have a survey on it, and so the deed has never been executed or accepted.
And the 12065, I think anybody that rode by there would think was already the city's. And it was obviously intended to be part of that trade years ago, but we can't find records where that was clearly done or wasn't done in a manner that we could trace it. So at this time, we'd ask that you open a public hearing, Mr. Chairman, on these three lots. And upon conclusion of that, you would allow these parcels to be transferred as necessary.
Bear with me, how does one open said public hearing? Do I just say we are now open for the public hearing for transfer of?
Hearing is hereby open.
Okay.
Consider declaring these three parcels surplus.
Okay, so the public hearing is now open. We are for the hearing for transferring 12 parcel number 12061
Declare surplus.
declare them surplus. 12061, 12069, and 12065.
So any public comment during your public hearing appropriate at this time.
Any public comment is appropriate. Just let me, if you would like to introduce yourself and which I, by the way, would have bet money that 65 was done right when I got here. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Mr. Lilker, any public comment on transferring these or declaring these as surplus?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other further comment? I don't have anybody online. Any other? Okay. Okay. So we can declare the public
You
hearing.
close the public hearing and move to council.
All right.
Board.
So we'll close that public hearing now and then we'll move on to, is it thoughts of the board and in determining whether we can declare these or to declare these parcels surplus.
Sure.
Thoughts of the board, Mr. Beal.
Mr. Williams, I thought we did the admin building, the parking lot to the east and the storage building and the lots to the north of that. I don't remember us ever decide. I thought we were holding off on the 12061. So are you gonna check on that?
I did today. There was I know you won't remember this, but there was a color coded map after the college and the county met. We brought it back and it said, these lots, which are colored in, this way, they decided to give to the county, and these lots colored this way are going to Florida Gateway. So I actually went back because I questioned it too to make sure, and I did verify that that was included in your motion.
I also thought that 12065 had already been given to the city, so.
Certain.
Yeah, there was a map prepared prior to 18. And it said these lots were transferred to the city, and the city transferred these lots to the authority, and it was to create what's now Wilson Park and surrounding areas. But everybody just assumed all of that was done. And I'm not saying it wasn't done. I'm just saying that we weren't able to follow the paper trail and confirm it.
So we're gonna do it again.
So
Do
we're
it
making
again.
sure that we're doing that now.
Have you contacted the city to make, I mean, I'm sure that they would like.
If y'all declare them surplus, I will contact Mr. Martin to make sure, like you say, 12065 is kind of a no-brainer. 12069, need to make sure they want it as adjacent park into that facility. So that would be step number 2 after tonight.
Perfect.
Mr. Bill, you may remember on that lot north of the public health unit. I think Mr. Kennedy's got it. Thank you, sir.
Don did his homework.
There it is.
Ask that you shall receive.
Well, just because they said that's what they wanted, does that mean that's what we voted on though?
Well, yes, this was approved by vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what happened was the county hired a surveyor. The surveyor was not complete at the time that they needed to take possession of the admin building. So they prepared a deed, which we've approved and accepted, but it did not include this piece here or that piece there, even though you had gifted those to them. They were gonna come back when the survey was complete and do that deed. They've not done that. Which is why I said, because that is not yet transferred, there is now consideration to give that to the city. Which Todd will confirm that with them when he speaks. Thank you.
And I have it before you lose it again.
Don Kennedy and Associates Records. Any further thoughts of the board? If not, I would entertain a motion to declare these parcels surplus.
Chair, I'll make a motion to declare parcel 12061, 12065, and 12069 land as surplus property.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to declare the 3 aforementioned lots surplus property. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes unanimous. With majority minus.
And Mr. Chairman, that motion also includes us completing those transactions. 2 of those are going to the city, 1 will go to the county by deed, correct?
It's my assumption is, well, we're just declaring them surplus.
That's all we did in that motion.
Yeah, that's all we're doing is declaring
We
them.
want to go ahead and get approval to transfer when we don't.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
don't know if the city wants those.
But if they don't, we'll be back.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
So, there we go. I was about to say, so,
I'll make a motion that, we donate, lot number 12061 to the Board of County Commissioners, Columbia County. Do they need to be separate motions?
They can do it all at once.
yeah.
And lots number 12065 and 12069 donated to the city of Lake City.
Second.
Perfect. Motion and a second to donate 12061 to the county, 12069 and 12065 to the city. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Excellent. Close the public hearing item and move on to the next one. Request for approval, the renewal of the U.S. Treasury notes, the surplus funds, Mr. Williams.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. As all trustees are aware, we invest the cash reserves of the authority in treasury notes, and at your request, as these notes mature, you like to review them on a case-by-case basis and determine whether you would like to renew them. And so having said that, let me defer to Mr. Powell, and Mr. Powell has reviewed and will make a recommendation.
Okay, so, you have a treasury note coming due at the end of June. The balance is approximately $2,018,000. You've been provided quotes on renewal rates between 6 months and 24 months. I see that the highest yield is the 24-month at 3.83%. As I'll remind you that while you are purchasing it for 24 months, if for any reason you need to redeem part of it or all of it earlier, you can do so without stated penalty. It would be redeemed at what the prevailing rate was at that time. So I would recommend going with the highest yield, which is a 24-month note at yielding 8.83%.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. I'll open it up to public comments. Public comments, sure. Okay. No public comments online. Thoughts of the board?
Chair, make the motion that we renew treasury note. That is set to expire or to mature on 6/30/2026 at a 1.875% interest rate to a 24-month treasury note at 3.83%.
Right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to renew the mentioned U.S. Treasury note for a 24-month period for 3.83%. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Excellent. That one. On our next line item, review and approval of the 2026 fixed asset inventory for Lakeshore Hospital Authority. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are required to present to you a fixed asset inventory audit each year. Please bear in mind, this does not include the hospital. These are the other assets. So in your agenda packet, you have a description. There are 4 items that we are removing. The most noteworthy, of course, are land parcels, and those were based on decisions you previously made. And then we are adding 3 items. 2 of those are land parcels which we found were not on our inventory from our insurance reviews. So we need to make sure that we include those. And the other is a laptop computer that was purchased for meetings. So having said that, we would ask that you approve the fixed asset inventory 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'll open this up for public comment. Is there anyone else that would like to public? Mr. Lilk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I don't see any of the computers here. Maybe there's a couple. And some of this, the printers. There is an Optiplex, that's a Dell. I know I heard at one of the meetings that it's too difficult to wipe the hard drives clear. So the computers have to be destroyed, or the hard drives, that was here. But that's nonsense. It's just a waste of money. I have a Dell that's as old as what's at that hospital. I publish the Columbia County Observer on that. Send you an email from time to time, or no. Read the New York Times, the Washington Post, whatever stuff is out there. They work fine. And I just tell you that I don't know if all that inventory has been destroyed yet.
This is for the hospital authority, just so you're aware, not the hospital building, just the
what happened to those computers? Those belong, all that inventory belongs to the hospital authority, Mr. Beal.
It's a separate inventory.
Where, what, so, okay, that's fine. So, but what I'm saying is like that Optiplex and the stuff that's at the hospital, veterans, anybody could use that stuff. Takes 5 minutes. You can wipe a hard drive clear. You don't have to put an act through it. So, you know, I hear you want to give away $1.5 million that you have no right to give away for 3 ambulances where the county doesn't have a clue what they're doing. What you're doing is depriving people that could use this equipment of the equipment because of a bogus, and I don't remember who said it, I would have to go back and check, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
But the computers on here, which I believe that was the policy, rather than give them away, you were gonna destroy them somehow.
We did,
Yeah, sir?
we did.
Yeah, well, whatever other ones you find, you shouldn't destroy, but you should make them so that some people could use them. As you recall, and I'm done, you mentioned that there's all these pockets of indigency throughout the county. Well, some interested people may have a plug, they could use a computer instead of throwing it in the garbage. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Local.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Just throw all the shit away.
Any other public comments? Miss Lindley?
I don't know if it can be taken out. What about that negative pressure room that Lori wanted for the authority? Is that gonna be destroyed or taken out or what?
Not on this inventory at all. This is
What inventory is it on?
on the hospital inventory.
Yeah,
Okay, is it on that inventory, the negative pressure room?
I think it's part of the
It's
building.
part of the building, it's a physical part of the building. Everything in there is attached to the walls of the floor.
Okay, well, maybe they can stick some wackos in it then.
Well,
Jesus. Okay. Any other public comment? I'm trying. All right, we've exhausted public comments, thoughts of the board. Or I'll entertain a motion.
There, I'll make a motion that we update the fixed asset inventory for LSHA with the 4 deletions and the 3 additions listed.
second,
I have a motion and a second to delete the 4 items and add the 3 items listed in the handout in your hands. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Sorry, lost my spot. Next spot, review and approval, request for qualifications for the contractor pre-qualification LSHA primary care facility. Mr. Williams.
again, Mr. Chairman, our policy requires that you approve requests for qualifications prior to them being issued. This is the RFQ. We will receive responses, once it is issued. There will be a review and then a prioritization list of those that will be presented. And we're trying to do it in a time frame where this will be on your July agenda. But this is basically related to your Lakeshore Hospital Authority primary care facility. And hopefully you've had the opportunity to review it. I've had a number of people look at it. It seems to be adequate and contain all the provisions necessary for an RFQ, and so I would ask you to approve it for issuance at this time.
All right, we'll open it up for public comments. Any public comments on the RFQ for contractor? Ms. Lindley.
I know there was a question about parking. Did the parking get resolved? Because on that parcel, I was the city meeting and it didn't contain parking for this facility and parking in the back, but they wanted to use the parking lot to the east side of the authority. Did that get resolved?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lindley. Any other public comments? All right. I'll move on to thoughts from the board, comments from the board, or I'll entertain a motion.
We'll need a motion
To approve it.
to approve the RFQ.
I'll make a motion to approve RFQ 2026-001. You said,
Second.
Have a motion, motion and a second to approve the RFQ 2026-001, the contractor pre-qualification for form for construction or renovation of the primary care facility. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, on to our unfinished business. There's an update for the Lake Shore Hospital Authority building, the disposition of assets classified as furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Mr. Williams.
Chairman, trustees, as a reminder, we have 120 days, or we had 120 days from April 29th, which to remove and dispose of the inventory, the FF&E in the Lakeshore Hospital. We have completed all of the educational component that you requested. So the schools, the college, they've all received the equipment necessary to properly equip their individual classrooms. All of that's done. We are now working on the medical equipment side. Now, the way that is going to work is we're identifying all the medical equipment in the building, and we're going to offer that through a bid process, hopefully to those that can use it for parts, to refurbish it, those kinds of things. If we just put that in a general auction, we were advised by just about every general auctioneer we talked to, it's going to sell, but it's going to sell for scrap and weight. It's not going to sell for any further use. You will not get, any kind of value out of it. So based on what Ms. Laurie and trustees had discussed before, we're identifying how much of each piece of that type of equipment we have. We're going to put together a bid package. We're going to try to target these third-party hospital equipment vendors nationwide, wherever they may be. And we're going to try to sell it to them. So we're deep into that process of preparing that bid spec. In fact, I would hope that for the most part, it is complete this week. Because like the other items, we need to get it bid as quick as possible. We are now 40 days into that 120 days, so we're a third of the way through. Clock's running. It takes time to do these things, so we're working diligently where we can get this stuff done. So what I would like to ask of you is once that bid spec is ready, I would very much like to get your approval to go ahead and advertise it. I'll be more than glad to put it on the next agenda because bids won't be back by that time. But if there's changes, we can do those as an addendum to it, but I can't imagine you'll make changes, but I need to get it out as quick as possible. So that's where we stand on the FF&E as of today. And I am asking that you allow me, once the bid spec is prepared on the hospital equipment, to offer it for bid.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any comments from the board before we move on?
public comments?
Or, I'm sorry, public comments on that, on the unfinished business.
Good, but I
Thank- Appreciate it, Stu. Anything else? Nope. All right. Thoughts of the board or comments from the board?
Make a motion that we approve the bid specs to be sent out once created and presented to us at the next meeting before we receive the bids.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second to approve the bid specs, as mentioned by Mr. Beal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, guys, staff reports, in your packet. Any final closing comments, Mr. Kennedy?
No, sir.
Mr. Beal? Mr. Buller? Yeah, you got anything?
One thing, I just wanna remind the trustees that financial disclosures are due July 1.
I love that.
Yeah, those are electronic now. You should have got notice from the Commission on Ethics, but July 1, they're due.
That'll work. All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Woo, we made it.